All right, I understand we have Rita Tinina standing by for us. Rita, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. So have the proceedings started in court today?
Well, Sophia, not yet. We are waiting for those proceedings to get underway any minute from now. Parties, lawyers, the union officials themselves are already here in court, and we'll be waiting to see what the mediators, the Law Society of Kenya and the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights will have to present before court today. Remember, they are appearing before court after the deadline, which was yesterday, for them to reach an agreement lapsed. By last evening, there was no deal that had been reached, and so this morning we'll wait and see what exactly they will be presenting to court. It is the second time that they have failed to meet a deadline set by the court. Last week, they were expected to file a report after they had been given another 7 days. Last week, they asked for more time. They were given another 1 week. Today, still so far not deal reached yet. And so the judges this morning, the judges here at the Court of Appeal, will make a ruling, will give direction on how to move further. We understand there's going to be a meeting later on this afternoon at State House between the government and the teachers union. We are not yet sure what that meeting will entail, but perhaps the mediators have something to present to the president. The indications yesterday were that some sort of agreement had been reached, though not a deal that had been struck, but the parties had agreed on a way to move forward. The challenge here is that the parties, the mediators, will not divulge any information on what exactly has been agreed, what the dispute still is. Last week when they came to court, the report they had presented before court, they asked the court, the lawyers asking the court to keep it confidential, saying that they are bound by confidentiality and secrecy. And then judges last week then ordered that the report they had filed in court be given back to them, because they were asking the court to make sure that there is no leakage of that report. So this morning we are not yet sure whether they will present a report to the public or whether they will ask to file the report before the court and the report to be kept confidential as they asked last week. Sophia.
Right, because the indications appear to be that it's just a really small part that remains unresolved in as far as the issues on the table. Of course, both sides are not talking about what exactly it is, but you know, from the last time from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, they said just 10% of the issues had not been resolved, and we have seen this back and forth with going to court, asking for more time, being given more time. So is it likely that we are going to see the same today, Rita? Are you hearing from people talking about these proceedings and what the expectations are in court?
Not telling what will happen, but the indications that we have so far, as you mentioned, is that some of the issues have been agreed upon, and the elephant in the room here has been the figures, the salaries that the doctors have been demanding throughout the 88 days now since the strike began. They have stood their ground, saying that they want the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, which they signed with the government in 2013, implemented. They said they have ceded some ground. That CBA initially requesting a 300% pay increase, they have come down, as they say, to between 150 to 180. We are not yet sure what they have agreed upon in the last week or so that they are keeping secret and confidential. So this morning we'll be waiting to see what happens. But the doctors' union officials, as of yesterday, insisting that they have given all they could. They have come down on their what their demands were as far as they can, and they are not willing to cede ground any further. So this morning, waiting here at the court to see whether the lawyers will ask for more time, what representatives, what the lawyers for the doctors' union officials will be saying, as well as the mediators, the Law Society of Kenya and the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. It has been 88 days filled with intrigues. The government, the union already rejecting several offers by the government. One was that which was offered by the president in January in Mombasa, and the government then offered a 40% pay increase across the board for all doctors. They have rejected that. There was another offer which was offered when Francis Atoli, the Kotu Secretary General, offered to mediate. He says was given about 500 million shillings by the government, and that money was going to increase the pay from below the lowest paid doctors. That too, the doctors declined to take up that offer. government agencies, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, the Public Service Commission, insisting that they cannot give more than what the government can afford. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission has been working on the harmonization of salaries, and they have been arguing that the demands by the doctors would go beyond that harmonized structure by the government. Last week, 2 weeks ago, the SRC, the PSC, the Ministry of Health, the Council of Governors, all dismissing the CBA. They argue that it is illegal. And this argument is based on the fact that it was signed in 2013 by a permanent secretary, who then was a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Public Health and Sanitation. He had left office. That ministry had ceased to exist after President Uhuru Kenyatta came to power and formed the Ministry of Health as he constituted his government. And so the SRC, the Ministry of Health, the PSC and the Council of Governors arguing that it was signed by someone who was not in government and on behalf of a ministry that did not exist, and so does not hold water, and so it is illegal. The union officials have insisted whatever happens, that CBA has to be implemented. So today it will be interesting to see. The Court of Appeal giving the mediators 2 chances. The first time that they came to the Court of Appeal when they were appealing the decision to send the union officials to jail. The first time the court gave them a week to look into the matter, when it ordered also for the courts, for the union officials to be released pending the hearing of this case. That deadline they did not meet last week. Then they are back here in court. But even before they came to the Court of Appeal, at the Employment and Labor Relations Court, the court had given them 3 chances. Initially, when they were sentenced to a suspended jail term for contempt of court, after the court made that sentence, they were given 2 weeks to mediate. They came back to court, had failed to meet that deadline. Lawyers asked for more time. They were given another 5 days, failed to meet that as well. They were given another 7 days. The third time, they were given 7 days. When they went back to court at the Employment and Labor Relations Court for the 4th time, the judge saying there was no reason to continue that way, and so he ordered that the union officials serve their term in jail. They served for 2 nights before they were released. So it will be interesting to see whether the court will be more lenient this time, giving them more time, or whether there's also the option that the Court of Appeal here will decide to only deal with the contempt of court case against the union officials and take back the matter to the Employment and Labor Relations Court for mediation. So, Sophia, this morning we'll just wait to see what happens. Some doctors are already gathering outside the courts. Many of them, as I said, the union officials are already in court, the lawyers are already in court, waiting for the judges to get into the courtroom. Sophia.
All right, thank you very much, Rita Tinina, live for us. We will definitely be crossing to the Court of Appeal as soon as these proceedings begin. Remember again, 88th day of the doctors' strike here in Kenya. Will there be a resolution today? We'll wait to see what unfolds as those proceedings begin. We'll bring them to you live here on KTN News. You're watching Wild View. Thank you for staying with us. We're taking a break, but do stay with us if you can. We have more after the break. Coming up, the best of the continent's film being showcased in Burkina Faso at the Pan-African Film Festival.
This is KTN News.